Saladin, the sultan who showed mercy to the men who tried to kill him. An assassin's blade was already inches from his throat when Saladin woke up. Twice, the most feared secret sect in the Middle East tried to kill him inside his own heavily guarded camp. Twice, they walked away untouched and left him a warning instead of a corpse. What happened after should have ended in a massacre. Instead, it became one of the strangest acts of restraint in medieval history. By the late 12th century, Salah ad-Din Yusuf ibn Ayyub, known throughout history simply as Saladin, had risen from a Kurdish military family serving under Muslim Syria's ruling dynasty to become the founder of his own empire, uniting Egypt, Syria, and much of the surrounding region under a single command during a period when the Crusader states, established decades earlier by European armies that had seized Jerusalem and large portions of the Levant, remained a persistent, entrenched presence across the region. Saladin's military campaigns against these Crusader territories, culminating in his decisive victory at the Battle of Hattin in 1187 and his subsequent recapture of Jerusalem itself, established him as one of the most significant military and political leaders in the entire history of the Crusades, respected by allies and, notably, by many of his enemies as well. What made Saladin's reputation genuinely unusual for the era and remains one of the primary reasons his legacy endures so distinctly, even among European historical accounts otherwise deeply hostile to Muslim leaders of the crusading period, was his consistent, well-documented reputation for chivalry and restraint even toward defeated enemies, a stark contrast to the brutal massacre of Jerusalem's population committed by Crusader forces decades earlier, when the city had first fallen into European hands. When Saladin recaptured Jerusalem in 1187, rather than repeating the wholesale slaughter the city had suffered under its previous conquerors, he permitted the Christian population to leave peacefully upon payment of a ransom, and multiple historical accounts, including from European chroniclers otherwise inclined to portray him unfavorably, describe him personally paying the ransom for large numbers of poorer residents who couldn't afford it themselves, out of his own treasury. This reputation for calculated mercy would be tested in a genuinely extraordinary way through Saladin's complicated, dangerous relationship with the assassins, a secretive and highly disciplined Ismaili sect operating from a network of mountain fortresses in Syria, led during this period by a leader known to history primarily through his title, the Old Man of the Mountain. The assassins operated a specific, terrifying form of political warfare, training operatives to infiltrate the households and inner circles of rival political and religious leaders, sometimes over months or years, before executing a single, precisely timed murder, a tactic that made them feared across the region regardless of religious or political alignment, since the sect had targeted both Crusader and Muslim leaders alike over the preceding decades, depending entirely on their own specific political calculations. Saladin's expanding power and his consolidation of Muslim territories across Syria and Egypt made him a direct political threat to the assassins' own regional independence, and in 1174 and again in 1176, the sect made confirmed attempts on his life. During the first attempt, Saladin was reportedly saved by the vigilance of his own bodyguards, who intercepted the assassin before he could strike. The second attempt proved considerably more alarming. An assassin reportedly infiltrated deep enough into Saladin's own camp, according to several historical accounts, to actually wound him before being subdued, an infiltration that revealed genuinely alarming gaps in even the security surrounding one of the most powerful military leaders in the region. Following the second attempt, Saladin responded with immediate, overwhelming military force, besieging the assassins' fortified mountain stronghold directly, a campaign that appeared set to end in the sect's complete military destruction. According to the most widely repeated historical account of what happened next during the siege, Saladin awoke one night inside his own heavily guarded tent to discover a set of poisoned cakes placed beside his bed, along with a note containing a specific, personal threat, worded in a manner that made clear whoever had left it had walked directly past his sleeping guards and stood beside his own bed without detection. A demonstration meant to prove that no amount of military force or personal security could actually protect him from the sect if they chose to finish what they'd started. Rather than escalating the conflict further, Saladin, according to this historical account, made the calculated decision to withdraw his forces and pursue a negotiated peace with the assassins instead, a decision that has been interpreted by historians in sharply differing ways. Some view it as Saladin's pragmatic recognition that a group capable of infiltrating his own sleeping quarters undetected represented a threat no conventional military siege could ever fully neutralize, making a negotiated understanding the only genuinely rational path forward. Others suggest the encounter, whatever its exact specific details, served as a sufficiently alarming demonstration of the sect's capabilities that continuing the conflict risked far greater personal danger than any strategic gain the siege could realistically achieve. Whatever his specific reasoning, Saladin and the assassins subsequently maintained a wary, functional peace for the remainder of his reign, with the sect notably choosing not to make further attempts on his life despite his continued, expanding political and military dominance across the region, and Saladin in turn largely leaving their mountain territories independent and undisturbed, an unusual arrangement between a sultan who had defeated Crusader armies and recaptured Jerusalem itself, and the one group that had twice proven capable of reaching him when virtually no other force in the region could. Saladin died in Damascus in March of 1193, reportedly leaving so little personal wealth behind, having given away much of his fortune to charitable causes and the support of his soldiers and subjects throughout his reign, that his family struggled to cover the costs of his own funeral, a detail historians frequently cite as further evidence of the specific character that had made him such an unusually respected figure even among his era's fiercest political and religious rivals. What makes Saladin's story endure, particularly in contrast to so many other medieval rulers remembered primarily for conquest and brutality, is this consistent, well-documented pattern of calculated restraint, mercy extended to a defeated Crusader population that could easily have been slaughtered, and a negotiated peace offered to the one group that had literally stood over his sleeping body with a blade in hand, choosing, in both cases, to end the conflict rather than complete it, a decision that ultimately secured his legacy far more effectively than total victory ever could have. If stories like this, where history's most feared conquerors chose mercy at the exact moment vengeance would have been easiest, are exactly what you come here for, subscribe to The Grave Details, because history holds more stories like this than most people will ever know.